Hello, hello.
No!
Oh.
Hi.
One day.
Let's,
Oh, no.
Chicas.
Nope, we're not gonna... Yeah?
Hi, Kate.
Yeah, hi, James. How are you, my friend?
Not amazing.
I couldn't tell. You're playing it off really well.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. It's April. We've made it to April.
Happy April Fools.
Happy April Fools. We are all April Fools here at Grapes and Coffee. I'm 25 now.
Oh, yeah.
It's officially after my birthday. I'm officially an old woman now. So
no
yikes.
Comment.
Yeah, yikes on that one.
It's also my dad's birthday.
It is.
When we film this, not when we release this. Shout out to Dave. Happy birthday.
Shout out to Dave, my second dad. Love you, dude. Even though he did not wish me a happy birthday, but it's fine.
This one's for you. We all know how much you love cults. Like, I don't...
Yeah.
This man doesn't love cults.
I'm pumped about this episode. Because, you know who does love cults?
You?
Me. I'm Kate.
And I'm Jane, and this is Grapes and Coffee.
A show where we talk about the dark parts of the world around us.
Cryptids, conspiracies, things that go bump in the night.
And the crimes behind the scariest creatures of all, humans.
Join us as we take a look at the stories sure to give you the creeps.
Pull up a seat, grab a coffee,
and let's have a chat.
I was just saying to Jamie, I get a little, nervy when we talk about cults. I really, really enjoy doing our cult episodes, and I feel like we don't have that many in the grand scheme of things. But I get, I get scared, kind of.
It's probably because you get scared that we don't do a lot of them.
Probably. And I think it's just because in any sort of, supernatural or, conspiracy or big topic that we do, it's really easy to look at it as a fictional topic, or to be able to, not fiction, but to be able to pull yourself out of it and really look at it as something big picture. Whereas with cults, it's really a slap in the face on how scary humans can be and how easy it is to fall under the control of something. No matter how susceptible you think you may be to things. I think for sure I'd end up in a cult.
100%. I'm sorry to say.
I didn't like the conviction with which you agreed with it.
I'm surprised you haven't already.
So am I.
I think you just haven't been given the opportunity.
You're probably right. For the best, I think.
Yeah.
But I mean, technically, if you think about it, the One Direction fandom was kind of like a cult. And I fell into that pretty hard. Still in there. Not going anywhere. But I can really see how the group mentality can be a defining experience for someone. As fucked up as that may be to say.
It is.
But I think that's why, cults fascinate me for that reason, but I think that's why they scare me, is that I personally can see how easy it could be to fall into it.
Yeah.
Do I see myself getting involved in a cult like the one we're going to talk about today? No. I want to make that very clear.
And also, this is not us saying, try and convince us to join a cult. Don't you dare.
No, God, no. Please, no. Please understand that I am I am just a girl.
Unless it's the Freemasons.
Yeah, unless you want me to slide into the Freemasons, then I'm in. But that's not a cult, it's a secret society.
Because there's a difference.
There is. And I want to be a Freemason so fucking bad. One day, maybe.
We don't want to join this one.
No, we definitely don't. And this one, not only does it make me feel a little bit nervy to talk about, it just makes me feel gross.
Mm-hmm.
So I think It's funny because just yesterday we were recording a Patreon episode, and it was the first time in a while we've had to give, like, a content warning for an episode.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like today is pretty significant that we should also give a content warning for child sexual abuse.
Yeah.
I mean, I think talking about cults in general should come with a bit of a content warning.
Yeah.
But if...
trigger warning for the entire episode.
Yeah, if this is something that interests you and you'd like to hear more about, you obviously are more than welcome to continue listening. If this is a topic that's very sensitive for you, by all means, you do not have to sit here and listen. We understand completely. So there is no pressure whatsoever. We'll have a new episode next time on a completely different topic that we hope you love. And we will see you then.
Join us for a cryptid episode.
Oh, yeah.
And also, that means we'll release a cryptid episode soon.
You gonna let me talk about Bigfoot again? I'm in.
Have we even mentioned the name of what we're doing yet?
We have not. Which we're really good at doing. We are talking today about the original Camcorder cult. We're talking about the Children of God, or more currently known as the Family International.
Also known as the Family, also known as the Family of Love, also known as...
Yeah, there was quite a bit of rebranding that's happened as they've grown, unfortunately.
Like JoJo's Siwa. Makes it worse. Murdery. Not murdery. Continue, Kate?
So, Jamie and I were saying, when talking about how we wanted to approach this episode, we're obviously, because I'm involved, obviously some history is going to be thrown in there.
I thought you meant like you were involved in the cult. I was like,
oh,
God,
hold up. No, but obviously we're going to go over some of the history. We're going to go over how the cult became what it is, because we can't talk about the horrors that we're hearing come out of it without figuring out
that you were
how it got to this point. Unfortunately. So obviously we'll go over some of that, but when it comes to talking about what the cult has essentially become, I don't want to say famous, but widely recognized for, there are unfortunately so many individual cases of abuse of power, of disgusting behaviors. There's court cases that we can talk about. There's so many things. Like, there literally is not enough time in one episode to go over even a fraction of the reality of this terrible group. And I'm not going to hesitate to say it. I know some people, when they're talking about stuff like this, it's the whole, like, it's someone's religion, you have to be careful about it. I'm not going to be careful about it. I think this is fucking disgusting. And anyone who defends any aspect of this, take it up with me. Send me an email. I don't give a shit. Like, it's horrific. The things that these people have been put through. Not these people. The things that they put children through. So, there's a lot to be said about this place. So, this episode is not going to obviously cover everything, but we've got some great documentaries that we're going to recommend. I've got some great books that I can recommend about this topic. So, we're just going to kind of dive into what this organization is and how it spiraled into one of the most influential and controversial religious groups in U.S. history, but possibly the history of the world. Yeah. So we can't really start talking about the Family International without talking about the guy who founded it. So David Berg, the founder of the Children of God, was born on February 18th, 1919 in Oakland, California. He lived in and around California. His early life, he was in or around Florida. He was the youngest of 3 children, and his family were Christian evangelists. So his family were well known for having, I don't want to say radical beliefs, but being very dedicated to their evangelical beliefs. They worked very closely with their local parishes. They worked very closely with different churches around the Miami area. And I think David got a lot of his perspectives on the world from that sort of upbringing, which makes sense. I mean, you're bound to pick up on what you grow up around. It's unfortunately nature versus nurture again. From a young age, though, David really believed that his existence was miraculous and that he had a divine purpose. And I think his parents definitely influenced that as well, thinking that they had created this perfect child. Which...
That's called narcissism.
Yeah, you're just sick in the head, my guy. So on the Children of God website, because of course they have a website where they talk about how wonderful David is, there's a bit of a description of how he describes his miracles of life and how he tries to sell himself as this prophet of God and this divine being. So according to him, the first self-described miracle was his birth. So apparently he survived being born with the flu during the influenza pandemic of 1918. So apparently all you COVID babies, when you grow up, you might have a divine purpose. You never know.
Don't say that.
You can spearhead a new organization. Later on, at 3 years old, a car ran over David's foot, and apparently doctors believed he would never walk again, but he was walking very soon after, and they claimed that it was a medical anomaly. Another medical anomaly that David believed proved that he was a divine creation was that he nearly lost his eyesight after a water heater exploded in his face. But once again, he recovered. Everything was great.
Sounds like you got lucky and you are an able-bodied human.
It really sounds to me like someone in the universe was like, oh, fuck, we messed up with this one. Get it.
Yeah.
And he's like a little bug. You know when spiders are just like too fast? Or yeah, cockroach. Legs. Cockroach is a good example. Like
he's got them spiritual legs and he's squirming around.
Exactly. He also claimed, and this will come into relevancy later on when we talk a little bit more about what the Children of God stood for. But David claimed to have had a sexual relationship with his nanny as a child.
And you don't mean like grandma, right?
No, I mean like family babysitter. Like,
not that that's better.
No, God, no. He's still a child, and any sexual relationship is non-consensual and an abuse of power.
Yeah.
But David claimed that this was a positive experience for him.
No.
And this was among the first of his experiences that would shape his perspective on sexuality and how he ultimately would interact with those around him. Yeah, we'll come back to it, but just as that's like a little sprinkle of what David's life was. So as an adult, fast forward a little bit further into the future, he became a pastor for the Christian and Missionary Alliance, which is the same organization that his family worked for. He worked at a small church. He claimed that he left this church in protest of racism in the congregation. He said he was a good guy, he couldn't stand for it, and had to go. However, he is also known to have been the one to say, quote, Jews and blacks were conspiring to ruin the world.
Oh.
So take that with a grain of salt. I don't think he was really preaching being anti-racist.
This sounds familiar, like something from Criminal Minds also.
Yeah. It's also, I would like to point out, when I was doing this research, this is also very similar to Jim Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Although, not that I want to credit Jim Jones with much. But he, at the beginning, before Jonestown became a thing, he also was a very vocal advocate for getting churches and, neighborhood organizations like that in predominantly minority communities, because he saw the way that they were treated in quote-unquote white areas and white churches. So Jim Jones actually did a decent job of actually being anti-racist and standing for that, until obviously he lost his mind and Jonestown happened. David Berg was not quite the same. He was actively making racist and anti-Semitic comments.
Yeah.
But used being anti-racist as a cover-up because he probably left the church due to sexual misconduct claims. Which, unfortunately, is not all that uncommon in terms of working with a Christian and Missionary Alliance. Just saying. So fast forward, after all this, to 1968. His mother passes away. His mother and a big portion of his family worked at the Light Club Coffee House near the Huntington Beach Pier in Huntington Beach, California. As he took over this, he established an organization, or a group, I should say, not really an organization, called Teens for Christ. And I want you to set the scene.
Uh-oh.
It's 1968. The hippie craze is really hitting its peak. We're getting to the peace and love movement of the 60s, 70s, 80s.
I love the basic point of that.
Yeah, well, 100%. So if you think about the typical parent, particularly like a Christian Catholic parent in 1968, you don't want your child out on the beach smoking weed, preaching about rock and roll and peace and love and sex and all these things.
All the cool things.
Yeah, you don't want your child having fun.
God forbid.
But if they're having an amicable and mature discussion about it in a teen Christian support group sort of thing at a local coffee shop, you're going to be much more receptive to that idea and to your child being involved in something like that than you are to them just being hippies.
Yeah.
Right? I hate to say it, but logically, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I follow.
Unfortunately, what they were starting to discuss in Teens for Christ became less of Christian beliefs and more of a mixture of Christian beliefs, self-proclaimed prophecies, and this fervent belief from David Berg that love should be free for everybody. No rules, no regulations, because that's the way that God wanted it. God wanted a bunch of teenage girls to have sex with David. In David's eyes.
This sounds familiar.
Yeah, big time. So this is where we get to 1969 and the official creation of the Children of God. David no longer referred to himself as David. He referred to himself as Moses David. And he began preaching these prophecies to his followers.
My dad's name is David. I just realized.
It is. Should we start calling him Moses David?
No, I think he'd scream if he listens to this episode, and then we just start calling him that. He would be like, don't. You're gonna ruin my reputation.
Sorry, Dave.
Moses.
So, these prophecies are not just... I don't want to say normal prophecies, because I feel like there's no such thing as a normal prophetic statement. In any religion. It's not just a Christian thing. I feel like if anyone was like, I have a word from God, you're gonna be like, okay.
You what?
Yeah, whatever you say, buddy. Smoke another doob. So these prophecies involved a lot of sexual ideas and hoping to create what David called the law of love. So he also had this prophecy that there was going to be a devastating earthquake in California. So the group left California and they started to spread across the Midwest of the United States so that they could essentially warn people about the end of the world and how everything was terrible, and the same thing that every cult seems to latch onto. The world will end at one point, but until then we just have to have sex with whoever. Makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the problem was he started seeking, I'd say the least offensive way to say this is groups of young girls, particularly young men as well, but a lot of young women who were open to an alternative lifestyle, who in the time of the hippie culture and like the revolution that was happening in society at this point, kids who were susceptible, who were tired of their parents being judgmental, who wanted to make a change. He targeted kids at halfway homes, at the YMCAs, kids who were on the streets, gang members.
Vulnerable people.
Not just vulnerable people. I want to make it very, very clear. Vulnerable children.
Yeah.
Not people who had the capacity to understand that life could be different. We're talking, they believed that people were adults by the age of 12. And they were joining this group from the age of 12. The vast majority were like age 12 to 20 joining this group. Obviously staying in it throughout adulthood. There were adults involved, which makes this far worse in my opinion. But the people that they're looking for to recruit were kids.
Yeah.
Kids who didn't have families who would pull them out of it. Lots of stuff happened in between, which we will go over. But essentially, by 1971, there was enough controversy that was coming out of this group because people, particularly family members, were starting to see how terrible circumstances were, and certain people were leaving the group and asking for help and trying to go back and get help, which led to David Berg going into hiding for the rest of his life. We'll talk a little bit about some interviews I saw from his granddaughter, who said that she understood who her grandfather was, but she never met him in person. Because the number one secret in all of this was where he was situated. Because people were not pleased. There was a lot of allegations, particularly from the U.S. courts, for child abuse, for kidnapping, for incest. Like, countless crimes that he could not be convicted of based on First Amendment rights. So essentially freedom of religion. There was too little, because they had all of these foundational beliefs that they claimed came from Christian ideologies. Which is so fucked up. But we'll talk more about that and the specifics of that in a bit. Some people think he went Japan. Some people think he went, like, India. Like, no one had any idea where this man was. The only way that people really saw him and got news from him, and it's not funny, but it makes me laugh to think that this is how he got his news out.
He
drew, like,
letters?
comic books.
Oh.
That he called the Mo letters, which were these cartoons that mixed his beliefs and his perspectives with liturgy, and he sent them out to all of his congregations.
See, that just screams, I'm a pedophile.
But that's...
I'm
exactly.
putting my doctrines into pictures so the children can understand.
That's a fantastic point to make. That's 100% some of the, like, scheminess behind it is exactly that. He knows that some of these kids, and most of the kids that were in this cult, were receiving at most an 8th grade education.
Yeah.
On average, 5th or 6th grade. Because their goal was not to work in the outside world. They did not want any interaction with the outside world.
They didn't want to work for the systemites.
Exactly. So anyone who was not involved in the family, which it became. So once David left, that's what I forgot to mention. David left, went into hiding, and different branches of the Children of God started popping up worldwide. So then it was no longer the Children of God, it was the Family of Love. And then that dropped to the Family. And then because they were all over the world, it became the Family International. So because so many of the children in the family were not receiving education, they were afraid of the systemites, the outside world, he drew these fucking comics.
Yeah.
And even if you couldn't understand the liturgy, if you couldn't understand all of the written word that was coming from this, they could see the pictures. There was no mistaking what the pictures were showing. And what the pictures were showing was disgusting.
Yeah.
But again, we will get into that.
Can I pop in talking about some people?
Mm-hmm.
So, there was quite a few... I know this is skipping ahead. There's quite a few noticeable members. Past, present. Some joined as adults. Some were children born into it.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who joined in adulthood, who joined when it was called the Family International, was Jeremy Spencer, a founding member of Fleetwood Mac.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what are you doing, bro?
The only person in Fleetwood Mac I've ever trusted is Stevie Nicks.
Yeah.
And I will stand by that.
And do you recognize this name? Rose... I don't know how to say her last name. McGowan?
Mm-hmm.
From Scream?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I didn't know she was in it until I was researching for this. We all know about Joaquin Phoenix, but it's his whole family. You know, Rain Phoenix, River Phoenix, Liberty, and Summer Phoenix. Love all those names, by the way. Don't make fun of me, Kate.
Those are the most Jamie names I can imagine, so I don't doubt that.
You got Susan Justice, Faith Jones.
But I mean, to go back, sorry.
No, you're good.
To go back, obviously, there's a lot of other things that went on in the lives of the Phoenix family. But if you look at someone like River Phoenix and how troubled his life was.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta wonder how much of that trouble came from something that he would have experienced with this being a foundational belief.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely.
Like, obviously, it's all speculation. We don't know. But clearly his life came to a very tragic end.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's things to think about.
What year were you on in the timeline, by the way?
I think
71?
yeah.
Okay. So I will mention by 72, apparently the, as they say, COG, ew, they were estimated to be in about 70 countries and had about 130 communities in the world, and how they were populating or like luring people in. I want to talk about that.
Are you talking about
They
fishing?
called it flirty fishing.
Yeah.
Huh?
So before we talk about flirty fishing,
Okay.
because I do have that on my list too,
Yeah.
I think it's important to talk about what the teachings of the children of God were. So, basic overview. It teaches a message of quote-unquote Christian love based on, as I said, scripture and liturgy, and a mixture of Berg's prophecies.
Yeah.
So, David told members that God was love and love was sex. So there should be no limits whatsoever, regardless of age, regardless of relationship, and it actively encouraged sexual activities among minors as young as 2 or 3 years old. So they believe, or David taught them to believe, that there was no such thing as ownership, that you are all God's creations, and as such, you have to be appreciative of what you are given and understand that you cannot take what God has created. So there is no ownership of land. You all live on the commune together. There is no ownership of property. Your house is not your house. Your bed is not your bed. It is available for all of your brothers and sisters, all of your family, so to speak. Your partner is not your partner. Particularly, women are free game. You do not have ownership over your own body. It is not yours to say, not your decision to say no. And that does not matter if you are 5 years old. It does not matter if you are 25 years old. It does not matter if you are 85 years old. Everything was expected. There was no free will, but there was quote unquote free love.
Should I jump on this and also talk about the loving Jesus thing?
Yeah.
Because that, I started reading that to my coworkers when I was doing research. I was like, huh.
Yeah.
So, on the same vein, there was a term called loving Jesus. During, I think it started when they were in their international phase, 2004 onwards, where it helped describe their sexual relationships with Jesus, so to speak. So they were acting as if they were the bride of Christ, and they were told and they were encouraged to imagine that Jesus was joining them during intercourse and masturbation. Besides that already being problematic, the male members were also told to visualize themselves as women in order to avoid having homosexual relationships with Jesus. Because that would be too far.
Yeah, that would be impossible.
Yeah. So
this idea of free love and not having ownership over your own, or not having, what's the word, autonomy over your own body, or your own ideas was the fundamental aspect of the children of God.
Yeah.
It was, you were, especially if you were a woman, you were fair game. There was a lot of polyamory that was happening, and I'm not here whatsoever to say that polyamory means that this is what's going on.
Yeah.
Or that there's anything inherently wrong with polyamorous or any sort of, I don't want to say deviant type of relationship, but deviant from the norm. But when you were a part of this group, it was very, very common that it was a polygamous experience. But not based on love. Based on you being essentially the sexual, you as the wife, I should clarify.
Yeah.
You being an object of sexual desire. Not a person with thoughts or feelings, but something it's going to sound harsh, but something to fuck. To prove to Jesus
Hence
that you
the
loved
flirty fishing and stuff.
Yeah,
too.
so flirty fishing, like Jamie was saying, was based upon so stupid. Based upon Jesus' injunction in Matthew 4:19, which says, "Follow me and I will make you fishers of men." So David Berg took this injunction and basically instructed his female followers to go to bars, pick up men, and seduce them into converting and joining the children of God. So he was
luring people in with, yeah.
He was prostituting the women in the cult.
Yeah, it was literally called, like, religious prostitution.
Yeah, so sexual contact with these potential converts was routine practice, and they were basically using escort services to identify potential targets.
Do you have a number for that, or do you want me to read a number that I found?
I have a number.
You have a number? I wonder if it's the same number.
So my number, I don't know at what point they started doing fucking paperwork for all this, but in an annual report that David published in 1979, he stated that Children of God evangelists had, quote, witnessed to over 250,000 souls, loved over 25,000 of them, and won about 19,000 to the Lord. Which makes me sick to my stomach.
I was going to say, because I found one that said a researcher obtained data suggesting that from 1974 to 1987, members had sexual contact with 223,989 people while practicing flirty fishing.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. They were prostituting these women. And I'm sure, I keep saying, I don't want to discredit the fact that there were absolutely men who were abused in this situation as well. But predominantly, the females who were involved in this cult were being prostituted and lived their lives as an escort service.
Yeah.
In the name of recruiting for the Lord. Which is disgusting. Yeah, I actually can't fathom it. It's a circumstance that is just so surreal to think that this was actually, and is still a fucking concept that they are okay with. Like, it's sad. Which seems like such a pedantic way of putting it. Like, obviously it's sad, but what other word, just like at its core, like, it's just sad.
Yeah.
And so many of these women grew up in it. They had no other way of knowing.
And on top of that, shocker, this group emphasized that it, similar to what certain Christians believe, they were also opposed to abortion, homosexuality, drugs, alcohol, all the fun things in life. Like,
all the things
not
I
abortion.
love.
Abortion isn't fun. But the rest of it, like,
I think it's also, it's important to mention the abortion thing, because as they're luring, and I don't know why I'm hesitating with my words. Fucking call it like it is. These people fucking suck.
Yeah.
As they are recruiting these people, they're also not practicing safe sex. They do not believe in birth control. Like Jamie said, they do not believe in abortion. So many
safe
of
sex
these,
was the last thing on their mind.
Safe sex, the thought of what we perceive as safe sex was, it was a sin. It was against what they'd been indoctrinated to believe, because the belief was that love was free, and whatever was going to come from the love was going to come from it. If you got your brother's wife pregnant, so fucking be.
You got crabs? Oh well.
Doesn't matter. Share them with everybody.
Oh God.
But it's the reality that so many of these young women are going out and doing this, giving birth to 10, 12 kids, all of whom are half siblings to each other, because there's no proof of who the fathers are or where the fathers come from. You're not going to sit down and establish a true family, because there is no ownership, there is no partnership in any of this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's...
And this is all on top of, like, abusing minors.
Yeah,
like,
so let's... Yeah,
that's the big thing, is like, hey, you pedophiles, assaulting minors.
Yeah.
That alone is enough to make me want to light the place on fire.
100%.
And then you just add on all these other things, and it's like, nah, none of this is good.
So,
you're not digging your way out of this hole.
No, so that's a good thing to jump into, actually. So they're having all of these kids. The kids have to learn from something. They do not want these children out in the real world, because they know for a fucking fact that the second one of the... I teach kindergarten. Kids say the wildest shit. I know far more about my kindergartners' families than they would probably like. So these people know for a fact that their kids are going to go to a public school, they're going to start talking about the shit that they're experiencing, and everything is going to crumble around them.
Well, because apparently there were, like, toddlers watching orgies.
Oh, well, exactly. So,
like,
David's granddaughter... Let me see if I can find her name here. David's granddaughter, her name is Faith Jones. She's now an attorney and an author. She has given several incredible interviews on her experiences, obviously growing up within the Family International, and her experience leaving the cult, and understanding that her grandfather and her parents were fundamental founders of making it what it is. So she gives a really interesting perspective. She says that one of her first memories is being 3 years old and doing a coloring book at home. And the coloring book was sex positions.
That's crazy.
It was men with big erections and women who were in different positions opening themselves up for the men. And she thought nothing of it because she's 3. But Jamie's right too in pointing out that these children are sitting and watching orgies. So that's another thing.
And also, I'm sorry.
Nope.
This will be quick. It's not even just sexual assault. It's just also abuse. They were beaten. They were, punished strictly for doing things that the family didn't want you to do.
Yeah.
Like actual abuse.
No, big time. So, Jamie was talking about these children having to watch orgies. So, when David went into hiding in or around 1971, he obviously still needed to keep track of what the family members were doing. And the way that he did this was he encouraged every commune to film every part of their day.
Another crime.
And 100%, another major invasion of privacy. But this also included them recording these massive orgies that were taking place, and not in a fun way. I'm not knocking on orgies here. But these were not like all consenting parties who were there to have a good time.
Yeah.
Predominantly men who just wanted to fuck each other's wives, and the wives who realized that if they stood up for themselves and said no, they were going to be beaten and abused. So David collected
it was
these.
rape.
It was hands down, without a doubt, consistent rape that these women, these people, were exposed to daily. So that earned them the moniker of the Camcorder cult, because there is countless hours still available of video evidence of this abuse going on, because David had such a major need for control. Which is...
And we are getting all of this information off of the internet. None of this is our opinion.
Yeah.
Because that's going to help cover our butts if we get sued.
Yeah, big time. You know what? Bring it on. Fucking
No. We've got $7 to our name.
Collectively. No, you're right. But no, so this is the first... I think it's interesting in that sense, because it is really one of the first cults where we have major documentation. Not only do we have the Mo letters, the comics and the prophecies that are being sent out that are telling these people, you need to be having these orgies, you need to be treating each other like this, all of these prophetic statements that David is proclaiming. But you also have video evidence. We didn't have video evidence from Manson.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have video evidence from Jonestown. We didn't have consistent video evidence from all of these major cults. We obviously still know that things happened the way that they did. Maybe we have pictures from them, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But this was essentially an expectation that you were going to vlog your daily life for the prophet. Which is insane. Going back to the Mo letters a little bit too, now that I've mentioned it. I was talking to Jamie about this before we started recording. I watched, years ago now, I watched a documentary on this family who had escaped from the cult, and they were explaining their experiences. And it was really interesting actually to hear the perspective of the children, and unfortunately to hear their abuse and their experiences firsthand, but to also hear from the parents and hear how they sort of realized what they actually put their children through once they got out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't have that constant overbearing. But in that documentary, which I cannot for the life of me find anywhere, and it's actually driving me nuts. But hopefully I'll be able to find it and we can link it in the show notes. But they were going over one of these Mo letters where they were saying that external medicine was not allowed. And if you got sick, you just had to deal with it. And this family was talking about how one of their sons fell deathly ill. And it got to the point where it went up to David. And David said, well, it's in God's hands. And they had to watch their son die. And she had to have her son die in her arms because they didn't believe that his soul needed to be there anymore.
Yeah, that's called neglect.
100%. So, and obviously that was not the only case of that happening. Yeah. So it's interesting how important children are to David and to the children of God when sexual gratification can come out of it. Like I said, they're told they're... that was another thing. The ADHD brain is strong right now. I'll come back to that point. But interesting how it's great when they need sex out of it, but how when the children need adults and they need the safety and security of a parental figure, they're left in the dust.
Yeah.
So to talk about the children and the neglect and abuse even more, because we didn't think it could get any worse, they believed that at the age of 12, you were an adult. And for women, regardless of if they had reached menstruation, for men, regardless of if they had reached a time for, I guess, control of their ejaculation, they believe that 12 was what signified adulthood. But
Nope.
So from that point, these children were being subjected to sexual relations with adults constantly. And David claimed that his sexual connection with his nanny was a positive experience in his life as a child, which is bullshit.
Yeah, no.
There was thousands, if not tens of thousands of children who were being subjected to sexual abuse in this way. They also believed, and there are Mo letters that tell this story as well, that from the age of 12 to about 15, which is how they described it, about the latest age that a girl is going to start menstruating, from 12 to 15 was the time for these young girls and boys to start exploring with each other, because it was sort of the grace period where she probably wouldn't get pregnant. But if she did, she was an adult anyway, so it didn't really matter. But it was the time for them to have as much sex as possible with each other to get practice and show Jesus the love. And all of this bullshit. So they would have adults in the room teaching them how to have sex. They would be encouraged to watch these orgies, to watch the adults in the community do these sex acts, to do it to the adults and to do it to each other as a sign that they were growing up. Which is disgusting.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk about other shitty things with children, a major point of contention for David Berg was his stepson. So Berg was married twice, or I guess not really married twice. He had two different wives. So Berg married his first wife, Jane, who was also considered Mother Eve. So there was Moses, David, and there was Mother Eve. So married her.
Was she also the one that was called like Queen and Prophetess?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that was 1944.
Yeah, later.
So she's been involved in this since the beginning as well. I didn't even mention her before because...
But she's there.
There's so... Like I said, there's so much other shit. And this is what I mean. Like, we cannot possibly cover all of it in one episode. But she's there. They had 4 children. Berg married his second wife, Karen, in 1970. He informally adopted Karen's son, Ricky Rodriguez. In the 1970s and 80s, after this child had been indoctrinated into the cult, sexually suggestive photographic depictions of Ricky with adult caretakers were spread throughout the group by David and Karen in a child-rearing handbook that they titled The Story of Davidito. So in this parenting handbook that they are handing out along with the Mo letters, they are saying, look at what we're doing to our son to teach him how to be a great member of society and a great member of the family. So not only are they abusing this child, they are now distributing child pornography.
Literally.
And using it as an educational tool. In January 2005, Ricky Rodriguez murdered one of the female caretakers shown in the handbook before he took his own life several hours later. David did not speak about him, but the fact that something like that could happen and no one ever touched David, nothing was done. Like, I can't even begin to imagine how his stepson was feeling.
No.
Not that I advocate for murder, but when you're going to abuse a child, I don't feel that bad for you if you get murdered, especially if he murders you.
You've got it coming.
Like, I don't actually feel a lot of sympathy.
Yep.
And I will not apologize for it.
Yeah, not sorry.
No. So there are hundreds and thousands of cases of children who have left the Family International and come with stories similar to Ricky's, and come with stories similar to Faith Jones's stories. And it's very telling how captivating and indoctrinating this cult really is. But the fact that nothing ever came out of it is what baffles me to this day. So there's more that we'll talk about for the last little bit here, but no one saw David from 1971 until 1994.
When?
So in November of 1994, David died.
Oh no, what a shame.
He was buried in Portugal, and his remains were cremated.
Sorry, Portugal.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. After his death in 1994, his wife took over and led the family. And there were investigations of the family for child abuse, not just in the US where there was all the First Amendment stuff blocking it. But from that point on, after his death, there were investigations in Argentina, in France, in Spain, Australia, Venezuela, and Peru. And it still continues to pop up.
It also changed, though, because the whole point of a cult is, hey, the world's gonna end. It didn't end. Yet. So, like, what are we still believing in here, folks? Your prophet was wrong.
Yeah,
And now he's gone.
That's what I've never understood. If you look at Scientology, if you look at this, if you look at any sort of cult where that is the fundamental, like, things are gonna end, this is
the Antichrist is coming.
This is absolutely gonna happen, and then it doesn't happen.
Yep.
How are people like, oh no, I still believe him? I mean, I look at some of my relationships and what I've believed, and like, maybe I get it.
No comment. Can I also mention something about their spirit helpers?
Oh, please do. I completely forgot. See, this is what I mean. There's so many weird fucking things.
Like, I just want to complain about how they cherry pick everything.
Mm-hmm.
So they had these things called spirit helpers that are supposed to, shocker, help them in their, I don't want to say like religious journey. It includes so many weird people, a weird conglomerate of people. It includes like angels and mythical creatures. One of them, the goddess Aphrodite, a snowman, Merlin, the Sphinx, Elvis, Marilyn Monroe, Richard Nixon, and Winston Churchill. How dare you make me say Winston Churchill and Aphrodite in the same sentence? They are not even in the same planes of existence. How dare you? No. Aphrodite would not be associated with you guys. I'm sorry.
Fuck, that really
Nor
got
would
me.
Winston Churchill. Probably. Hopefully.
Oh, God.
And Audrey Hepburn.
Who?
Audrey.
Audrey.
We're saying the same thing.
You're saying Aubrey.
What are you saying?
Audrey.
I'm not hearing a difference. I'm sorry. Audrey?
There you go.
That's what I said.
Nope.
Richard Nixon.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to you, Kate. What point were you getting at? He's dead now.
Yeah, the point being, he is dead now. And obviously things have changed. There's still ongoing investigations. People, not to say that the 70s didn't have investigations going on, They were definitely a lot more relaxed on the crime stuff. But nowadays, there's definitely a lot more thought that goes into avenging things like this and actually getting the justice that a lot of these things deserve.
Mm-hmm.
But even now, the family's still active.
Which is crazy.
It's insane
Like,
to me.
how has it not been shut down, like, completely?
That's the part that makes me sick to my stomach. So
But
a
hey,
lot of...
so is the Christian church, but... The priests still be molesting the little boys, so...
It is very true.
Not all of them. It's not all priests, just enough of them.
But somehow always. But no, a lot of you know, and I've mentioned before, that I spent 5 years working with child sexual abuse cases.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously every case I've ever worked sticks with me. And it makes you sick to your stomach.
Yeah.
But what really gets me, that organizations like this are allowed to persevere through all of the accusations. And crime is always going to find a way. Always. But when an organization like this is allowed to continue based on First Amendment rights and freedom of religion, I think there's a lot of problems in that. And nothing that I say, I could rant about it for hours, nothing that I say is going to change it, nothing's going to solve it. These people clearly do not think they're doing anything wrong. But I'm also not going to sit back and say that this isn't a group of pedophiles who found an easy way to be child abusers.
Yeah.
Like, point blank period, this is a cult of pedophiles.
Will you
abusers.
also read the excerpt from the Rolling Stones article that
Yes.
I, for some reason, can't look at right now?
Yes. So Jamie found a fantastic article, again, from someone who left the Children of God. And
she grew up in it.
she grew up in it, which is a very different experience than if you just sort of dip your toes in it and realize, oop, maybe I don't need this, and dip back out. Still traumatizing, don't get me wrong. But when you are indoctrinated in it from birth, it's really hard to pull yourself out of that.
Mm-hmm.
So when she left, she jumped from the Children of God to needing some sort of structure in her life, which I couldn't completely understand. You know no other way. You have no education. What's the easiest way to find structure? You join the military. So her perspective on it, which Jamie and I had and probably will continue to have some good discussions on, she says, and I'm going to read 2 excerpts. She says, "I wondered to myself, did I just join another cult? The thought brought me some comfort. I knew how to do this."
Oh.
Which is wild. She says, "I was, after all, born and raised in one of the worst cults there is. I had spent the first 15 years of my life playing at battle drills in God's army, getting ready for what to do when the Antichrist soldiers showed up. I was born a soldier. What I came to understand is that the military and the cult had a lot more in common than I ever wanted to admit. More than any of us strong, proud Americans would like to admit. And in both of those worlds, trying to fit myself into the mold of what was expected of women nearly killed me."
So go check out her article and her book.
But I think she does a fantastic job of summing up how scary life can be when you're trying to find structure in anything, when you're trying to, like she said, fit yourself into the mold of what you're supposed to be, what a woman is supposed to be.
I think that is one of the scarier parts about cults for me personally, and why, thankfully, I don't want to jinx it, but I don't think I would be involved in a cult, is everybody who escapes a cult is like, who am I now? Who am I without this? I already think I have quite a strong personality. It's so scary if I'm joining an organization and losing my personality and what makes me me.
Yeah.
And then coming out on the other side being like, everything I was just told is a lie. Who am I? I have to relearn this.
Yeah.
Like,
and you're
no,
very susceptible.
thank you.
But that's the thing too, is when that happens, you come out of it, you're trying to rebuild, you're very susceptible to...
Because they've broken down all your barriers.
Yeah, you're very likely to fall into a world that is equally as unhealthy. Not to say by any means that the military is equally as unhealthy as a child sex cult.
No, but you are more likely to get
But that's...
put into a different cult because you're an easy target.
Yes. And, like, it's also... Her point also goes to show that it doesn't have to be something that's necessarily a quote-unquote cult. But being in a circumstance where you are told who you are and what you can be has a major impact on your life.
Yeah.
And I just... It's a very fascinating facet of human nature, looking at susceptibility to influence.
Yeah.
And I mean, like I said from the very beginning, I am a highly susceptible person. I am a heavily influenced individual, and it's taken a lot for me to acknowledge that. But...
I'll make sure you don't join a cult, Kate.
And that's why I've kept Jamie around for this long.
Because if they're, like, cut off all connection with the outside world, how are you going to talk to me?
That's very true. How am I going to do a podcast?
Yeah. Sorry, I can't join your cult. I have a podcast with my best friend. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, there's a lot about stuff like this that, I don't know, sparks a lot of further discussion for me. And I think it'd be fun to do maybe a Patreon episode or maybe like a bonus episode to just kind of talk about more details about stuff like this, not just with the children of God, but how cults influence culture.
Yeah?
No, I think to wrap this up, I would say keep your wits about you. All in all, an experience like that of the individuals who are in the children of God, or people who have left especially, are experiences that are devastating to the growth of an individual. Like we said, it kind of depends on if you're joining later in life or if you are born into something like this, but fundamentally it all comes from a place of wanting to belong and wanting to fit in and wanting to find a group of individuals that share the same ideals. And it's really scary how human nature can turn us from people who might just get along and might be a couple of teens at a coffee shop talking about wanting more free love in the world to one of the most detrimental organizations that the world has ever seen.
If it looks like a cult and acts like a cult, it's a cult.
There you go. Boom.
Boom.
We would love to hear your thoughts on the children of God, your thoughts on cults in general, what your perception is. Do you think people who get into it should have sympathy? Do you think they kind of lose any sense of sympathy when they accept behaviors like this? We would love to know your perspective on a lot of aspects of what we've gone over today. If you would like to go over any other cults, if you have any ideas like that, please let us know. Yeah, if you would like to get in touch to have a further discussion about this, we would love to hear it. So you can get in touch with us at our email, which is creepsandcoffee@gmail.com. You can send us a message or leave us a comment on our Instagram or our Twitter, which is at creepsandcoffee. If you would like to be a part of our Patreon exclusive family, if you would like to join the SAS Squad and get a shout out in each of our shows and have access to behind the scenes exclusives, including an extra special bonus episode every single month, you can check out our Patreon and help support the show at patreon.com/creepsandcoffee. We would love to have you there. And we're very excited to be on this journey. I promise it's not signing up for a cult. Pretty much.
No, it's just a squad. It's a cool club.
Exactly.
If we start acting like a cult, tell us.
Yeah, let us know. We'll change.
I promise.
We'll be better.
You can trust me.
Yeah, I know this was a bit of a heavier one. Obviously, the topics were not casual, not cool by any means, but it's always interesting to talk about the scary side of human nature. It's not just ghosts that freak me out, it's people too.
Oh yeah. More so.
100%. We love you. We can't wait to hear from you, and we can't wait for you to join us for our next episode.
Bum bum bum.
And that's it. That's a wrap, folks.
And
Goodbye.
scene.
Goodbye, we love you.
Love you, I guess.
Bye. Creeps and Coffee is produced and edited by us, Kate and Jane.
Our theme music is Stuck in a Hole by Dated.
For more information on where to find them, check out the link in our show notes. And to connect with us, follow us on Instagram and Twitter